Welcome everyone to this edition of the Cheat Meal. I'm Brian Bosarge. This is presented by DeepFriedDraft.com. First, we're going to just go over the last few games of the from last week that I hadn't gotten a chance to speak about in the last episode of the Cheat Meal or in the quick snack videos of the weekend. Late Saturday night, Arizona BYU played at in Glendale, the Cardinals NFL Stadium. For Arizona, I thought senior wide receiver Trey Griffey, I thought he's looked a lot thicker, very noticeably thicker than he did a year ago. I look for him to have a big contribution for the Wildcats this year. Griffey is, of course, the son of Major League Baseball Hall of Famer, and one could argue if he wouldn't have gotten hurt, the greatest baseball player of all time, Ken Griffey Jr. For BYU, I thought Jamal Williams looked good coming back after missing multiple seasons with knee injuries. The other game that was a Sunday night, Texas Notre Dame, 2-overtime thriller. Texas' offense was fun to watch. I'll say that. Big change from them. They're now essentially running the Baylor offense now. For Notre Dame, redshirt sophomore quarterback Deshaun Kaiser, he's the real deal. I don't know what Brian Kelly's insistence on now in using a two-quarterback system with Malik Zaire. It's pretty clear that Kaiser should be the guy going forward. Last night, Florida State came back from a huge 28-3, 23 or 28-6 deficit to Ole Miss, come back to win by 11. Redshirt freshman quarterback DeAndre Francois, first quarter and a half, looked a little shaky. After that, unbelievable. Played great poise in the pocket, took some shots, kept on firing. DeMarcus Walker, defensive end, Florida State senior, number 44, 4.5 sacks last night. Hard to argue that his production last night had its effect on the Rebels offense. Chad Kelly looked great in the first half, not good in the second half. Evan Ingram's the tight end. Everything is advertised. He's not a true tight end, more of an H-backs, wide tight end type of deal, but he should be able to contribute huge at the next level. Got 11 games on tap this upcoming weekend, and we're going to start Friday night, 6:30 p.m. on CBS Sports Network. Maryland is hosting Florida International. Odd game to say, not what you would call two giants of NFL player production, but FIU's got a couple players to look out for. Look out for number 87, the senior tight end, Jonnu Smith, 6'3", 232. Probably haven't had a chance to watch him yet, but I'll just look at his size. I'd say he's probably along the same lines as Evan Ingram, maybe not as athletic. They also have Devout Joseph. I think that's the correct pronunciation of his first name, number 78. He's an offensive tackle, 6'6", 297. Also be my first chance to get a look at him. For Maryland, you got number 4, the senior nickel cornerback Will Likely. He's only 5'7", but he's also has some return skills. They also have a transfer from Virginia Tech, running back Trey Edmonds, graduate transfer, so he's another player to look out for. Saturday morning, 11 a.m. on ESPN News, Central Michigan's at Oklahoma State. For the Chippewas, you got senior quarterback Cooper Rush, 6'3", 220. Prospect I haven't had a chance to look at to any great length yet. Oklahoma State has my number 4 overall quarterback prospect right now for next year's draft, Mason Rudolph, 6'3", 220, junior. They've also got a transfer from Stanford. You may have heard the name Barry Sanders. He transferred back to where his pops played at Oklahoma State. So I look for him to be able to maybe contribute a little bit more for the Cowboys than he did in, 3 years at Stanford. 2 wide receivers, Juwan Seals, James Washington, contributors there for Okie State, as well as their tight end H-back Blake Jarwin. This is probably going to be a shootout for a little while, but then I expect the Pokes to pull away. Saturday morning, 11 a.m. on the Big Ten Network, Cincinnati and Purdue. The story for the Bearcats is the fact that Gunnar Kiel is now listed as the 3rd-string quarterback after being a starter for multiple years. So yeah, like I believe I said in one of my videos, we can probably just about close the book on him for being any kind of top flight NFL prospect. Purdue, they've got 3 or 4 fringe draftable guys. Not really going to go into too much detail about them. I say fringe draftable. They're mostly probably undrafted free agent types. Maybe one emerges to be a little bit more if and when they do. We'll get back around to that. Saturday morning, 11 a.m. ESPNU, NC State and East Carolina. The Wolfpack, led by center Joe Scelfo, who's a graduate transfer from South Alabama. He'll be wearing number 66 for the Pack. I also really like number 88, junior tight end Pharaoh McIver. I've liked him since he was a redshirt freshman outside linebacker. He made the move to tight end before their bowl game last year, had an 82-yard touchdown reception in that game. So the talent is there. He was recruited as an athlete out of high school. The talent is there to make the conversion. He just needs the reps. Right now listed second to third on the depth chart at tight end, so probably not going to see a whole lot of action in game just yet. East Carolina senior wide receiver Isaiah Jones is their go-to guy. Saturday on ESPN2 at 2:30, Western Kentucky is at Alabama. After they demolished Southern Cal, I honestly think they're going to give up more points and more yards this week to Western Kentucky for multiple reasons. One, Western Kentucky's just going to wing it all game, so they're going to score points either on the starters or the backups. And plus, I mean, it's going to be a lot harder for Bama to get up for this game as it was opposed to the opener against the Trojans. Western Kentucky senior running back Leon Allen still coming off knee surgery. Wasn't listed on the depth chart a week ago. Don't know if he's going to play this week. Number 2, Taywan Taylor, 6'1", 190. He's their top wide receiver. Their quarterback is Mike White, a transfer from South Florida, 6'4", 215. Went for over 500 yards against Rice in the opener. He probably won't do that against Alabama. Saturday, 6 p.m. on ESPN, Arkansas and TCU. This game is going to be played in Fort Worth. My favorite prospect from Arkansas is going to be senior tight end number 83, Jeremy Sprinkle. 6'5", 255, big body, good hands. TCU lacking in what you call top NFL prospects this year. They say they have a few guys, but that's my opinion. Both teams in their opener struggle to put away lesser competition. Arkansas only winning by 1 point against Louisiana Tech, and TCU struggled to put away the mighty Jackrabbits of South Dakota State. 6 p.m. ESPN2, South Carolina is at Mississippi State. South Carolina's second of 3 road games to start off the season in the SEC play. Senior outside linebacker Darius English, he finished the Vandy game strong. He had 1 sack in a hurry late on the last drive. I think if he keeps improving, this could be in an area where he sticks at the next level as maybe a 34 pass rusher. He struggled in his first 3 years at South Carolina to A, keep on weight, and B, they had him with hands in the ground. He really struggled with that. So I think as a stand-up rush backer, maybe his way to make a living at the next level. Mississippi State coming off a loss at home to South Alabama. We talked about that the other day. That loss wasn't the fault of senior defensive end number 47, A.J. Jefferson. He was in the Jags backfield most of the game. 6:30 p.m. ESPNU, we're going to see Jacksonville State travel to LSU. LSU's trying to bounce back after just a terrible loss to Wisconsin. No other way to get around it. Jacksonville State's got 2 transfers, one from Auburn, running back Rock Thomas, and one from Alabama, defensive end Michael Fanning. That both of those guys are draftable NFL guys late. 7 p.m. ABC, Tennessee and Virginia Tech. This game is noteworthy for the sheer fact it's being played in the infield at Bristol Motor Speedway, and they're expecting to set the collegiate football game attendance record with over 150,000 people there. So the atmosphere should be crazy. Tennessee struggled against Appalachian State. Can they bounce back this week against Virginia Tech, a team who has much more NFL talent than App State does? Virginia Tech junior tight end Bucky Hodges, 6'7", 242, playmaker. That's the best way to describe him. He's just a great over the middle asset for the Hokies. They also have the best fullback prospect in the draft, in my opinion, senior Sam Rogers. Next, we're going to go 9:30 p.m. CBS Sports Network, where it's Cal and San Diego State, where we're going to get another viewing of Cal quarterback Davis Webb. San Diego State has not my top-ranked prospect, but probably my favorite draft prospect this year, and their senior running back Donnell Pumphrey. Just quick, shifty, love it. Just love everything about Pumphrey. You know, I really hope I see him at the Senior Bowl at the end of the year, so I can, you know, have a chance to interview him, and I think it'll just be a great place for him at the end of the year. They also have one of the top senior cornerbacks in the draft, and DeMonte Casey. Casey declared for the draft last year, then pulled his name out. Don't know where he would have went had he stayed in the draft last year, but he's got a chance to be in the top 100 area right now. Also 9:30 p.m. this time on ESPN, we're going to get Virginia at Oregon. Virginia got drubbed by FCS Richmond on Saturday, but they have a nice shifty scat back in number 4 Taquan Mizell. They also have a late round prospect at tackle in Eric Smith. With Oregon, I'm mainly concerned to see if senior tight end Pharaoh Brown has fully recovered from a gruesome knee injury he suffered 2 years ago against Utah. In their opener against Cal Davis, he had 1 catch for 23 yards. I just want to see if he's still got the same open field speed. Because if not, I mean, it's going to be a real shame. Because he was probably, at the time of his injury, he was our top-rated tight end prospect. At that time, he was listed as a junior. Had he declared for the draft, I would have had him as the top-rated tight end in that draft. Dakota Prukop, a transfer quarterback from Montana State, 6'1", 200, was named a starter for the Ducks. So it'll be my first chance to actually get to see him play. Had one trade in the NFL today. The Eagles traded 2015 second-round pick Eric Rowe, a corner safety hybrid out of Utah. He was traded to New England. At the time when the trade was announced was for offensive lineman Josh Klein and a conditional 4th-round pick in 2018. The condition would go, it could be go up to a 3rd depending on playing time. But now I'm told that Josh Klein is not included in the trade and could inevitably be released by New England. I don't know if that nullifies the entire trade or not. That is to be determined. So with all that being said, 11 games on tap this week. We also need to say that, which I spoiled it yesterday or day before yesterday, but the DFD Rookie of the Week for preseason week 4 was Lions quarterback Jake Rudock, 6th-round pick out of Michigan, who was waived but added back to their practice squad. So yeah, busy first week. Like I said, we watched 18 games. Finished up watching them this morning. So back to the grind again starting on Friday night. We may have a quick snack video over the weekend, maybe Sunday, and then that'll tide you back over till we see you back this time next week. So for everybody listening, follow us on Twitter at Deep Fried Draft. Find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Deep Fried Draft. Search us on YouTube, Deep Fried Draft. I'm Brian Bosarge. Thanks for watching The Cheap Meal.